Meeting, we are going to have a public hearing regarding the roofing project for the Wilson Middle School. Project number 21-002. Dr. Marilla, would you, or your assigned, lead us through this portion of the public hearing? Let the record show that all board members are present for this public hearing. The actions regarding the work projects will take place during the regular portion of our business meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Kozire. Mr. Wilson, would you like to introduce our guest and set the stage for the PowerPoint presentation?
Thank you. I'd like to ask Jared Olson from HGM to address the board tonight on the Woodrow Wilson roofing project. As part of the review of the project, we found some additional issues regarding the roof, and so Mr. Olson is here to discuss it with the board.
Good evening.
Good evening.
All right. Well, as Dean mentioned, there are a few sections of this roof that have not been replaced in the last handful of years or so. We did a thorough review of them over the summer, and we decided that sections G and H, which are currently ballasted about 23,000 square feet, should be replaced as part of the remodeling going on inside. Additionally from that, there are two sections D and F, which I'll also mention. Those are the large black sections, whereas the sections we're going to be actually replacing are G and H, which are the tanner colors on the photo there. The picture on the right is going to be the ballasted section with the rocks on top there. As you can see, the wind has been moving those around over the years between the wind, the hailstorms, and just natural progression of roofs. This one's well over 30 years old and is outside of warranty, and those are the ones we're going to be replacing. The existing flashing along the outside is also worn out, and we're thinking that might be leading to a few of the leaks that we've been able to identify. Additionally, in sections D and F, the large black sections I mentioned, we're going to be taking care of some of the EPDM, the rubber roofing. We're going to go in and we're going to do some patchwork, so we included some allowance for that, as that roof is actually still in relatively good shape with the exception of some of the penetrations. The detail there basically is just what we're doing with the new roof section. We will be putting new flashing around the outside and making patches throughout the entirety of the existing rubber roof. Generally, from a timeline perspective, the bids were received last week. Tonight we're having the public hearing and the action on the bids later on in the regular meeting. We hope to mobilize the contractor tomorrow. We've already given them the idea that we need to get moving real quick on it. Generally speaking, we try to have roofing projects wrapped up around Thanksgiving. So this week's earlier weather kind of gave me a little bit of a spook, but it looks like we're going to pull back out of it to get back on it. We say 6 weeks for total construction. Realistically, once the contractor mobilizes, we're expecting 2 to 3 weeks. The biggest part will be coordinating with the on-site remodel contractor to make sure we're identifying all the areas inside as part of the overall remodel project. I've been talking with BVH about some of the work they're doing to the roof drains, etc., to make sure the two projects coordinate really well. Don't anticipate any issues with that, assuming the weather holds for the next month or so. The project description generally is as I described it there. Some demolition is going to happen initially with the removal of the ballasted roof. We're going to try to reuse that rock on some of the rain gardens on site instead of hauling it away and disposing of it. That'll help keep the weeds down and also assist with a little bit of the water detention on site. We're estimating the numbers here, generally speaking, about $290,000 is what we were estimating for the construction bid price, a little late in the season for it, and then we estimated just for budgeting purposes maybe another $29,000 for possible surprises. We do have contingencies in the bid for the roof repair and dealing with the electrical conduits that are underneath the roof up in the support structure. So between those two contingencies, I don't expect it too much beyond that, but you never know, especially on a remodel project that's you're well aware. Any questions?
Questions that the board may have?
Jared, do you anticipate any challenges with supplies to get the job done?
No, I guess it's part of the bid process later, but the contractor who was the low bidder is in town right now finishing up another project. They have the supplies on hand and they're ready to go.
Are we making this part of the bond? Or is this being funded from from PEPL or something?
We did not put the roof in the bond. Dean will explain the.
I'm going to take a collection from the board, but, no, what we're going to do is, if there is no bond money available left over, we'll pay for it out of our cash reserves, out of the construction funds, which is either PEPL or the silo fund.
If there are no further questions, we will take this under advisement and dispense with it during the regular board meeting. As I now call to order this regular board meeting, Mr. Wilson, would you please call the roll?
Mr. McLean? Present. Dr. Ogre?
Present.
Mr. Arthur?
Here.
Present. Ms. Hudak?
Here.
Mr. LaFurla?
Here.
And Mr. Rogers?
Present. As you are able, please rise with me to observe a moment of silence. Please join with me the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For us first is the approval of tonight's agenda. Is there a motion?
Move approval of the agenda?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, before us is the resolution to approve the agenda for this evening. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. And the resolution has been approved. Before us now is the approval of our minutes from the workshop meeting of October 13th. Is there a motion?
Move to approve the minutes of October 13th as presented.
Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion and seconds. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, before us is a resolution to approve the minutes from the workshop meeting of October 13th. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And the resolution has been approved. Before us now is our public participation. This is a time for the public to address the board concerning agenda items, as well as concerns that they may have that are off the agenda. I've been instructed that we have 4 individuals who have requested, ahead of this meeting, time to speak before the board. They are Sherry Anderson, Shannon Dunlop, Carrie Pope, and Deb Hernandez, and I will let the 4 of you decide who will speak first. Each of the 4, because they did ask or request ahead of the board meeting, will be given 5 minutes to address the board. All others who wish to address the board will be given 3 minutes.
Sherry, you need to speak with the mic so he can hear you out. Okay, thank you. Okay. We prepared a PowerPoint presentation to share with you from results that we issued a survey to our members. The district decided that they would not project it, so we made copies. So I want to pass out a copy of the presentation for each one of you.
What's that? the decision to not allow the presentation to be broadcast was not decided by the district, but by the board officer superintendent. Just to clarify.
This teacher wanted me to share her thoughts, but she doesn't want to say who she is, so I'm just going to pass out her letter to you, or his letter. Okay.
All right. Good evening, Dr. Merlot and esteemed board members. My name is Shannon Dunlap. I teach at Thomas Jefferson and have been there for 7 years. I'm going to do a little bit of my own self-reflection for you first, and then I'm going to talk about a couple of the slides in this presentation that were handed out to you. So for the first part of this, I've been thinking long and hard about how to get this across. And so I just want you to think about some rhetorical questions in your head, things that go through our mind on a regular basis. How many of you would consider yourself a perfectionist? How many of you in college would retake a quiz or assignment just to prove that you knew the material, even if it was 1 point? How many of you feel like you want to give 100% every day at work? How many of you feel like you're able to give 100% every day at work? How many of you on a general basis have felt stressed about the life changes due to coronavirus? How many of you would feel stressed if you were asked to give 100% to every single task you have in work, life, and family obligations? Teachers are perfectionists. We want to give 100% in every single thing we do. We hold ourselves to incredible standards, and we do it on our own accord. Not because we're told to, but that's how we feel. That is how we function. Every day we get up wanting to get more accomplished than we did the day before. We do not have the ability to stop worrying about our students when we are sick, tired, or stressed out. We know the only way to help our students is to push through. When we do take a sick day, it's because we literally cannot give anymore. I am asking you tonight to give teachers some grace. Grace that we struggle to give ourselves. We cannot help but keep going, so we need you to give us the allowance to take a breath, take a minute for ourselves, and regroup so we can keep on. Coronavirus has put so many additional stresses on teachers that have been mentioned to you all before. You've heard it plenty of times. I'm not asking you to change the way school functions. I'm not asking you to spend gobs of money to make our lives easier. I'm asking you as a board to make changes to the expectations for the teachers in this district in this chaotic and stressful year. You have the ability to decide as a district to suspend the IPDPs, which are teachers' individual reviews every year. We meet with the principals at the beginning of the year, we set goals, we have to monitor those goals, and then we have to report back again at the end of the year on our progress. That means we had to have some kind of version of a survey or some information in order to keep track of that. Many districts across the state have suspended them for this particular year. You also have the ability to temporarily suspend or reduce the SIP goals and mandates in the buildings, and those are the school individual plans to meet certain goals every year. Okay, so those are things that can be reduced for for teachers on a normal basis. I implore you to do something about these extra stresses that can be controlled currently. We cannot stop teaching, caring about students, contacting home, sanitizing, grading, worrying about health and safety, being good role models. But with your permission and grace, we can let go of a few extra items that will save us a little time for our own families and for us to decompress. The parts of the presentation that I'm going to address are those related to sanitation of the rooms. 70% of teachers in our district that responded to our survey say that they have adequate cleaning supplies. That's great, but that leaves 30% of the teachers feeling like they don't have the cleaning supplies to make their rooms safe. Okay. And 65% of teachers say that their classrooms are being cleaned by custodial staff. I would argue that that's not enough and that we need to make sure that the individual buildings are making sure that that's happening in every single room. And the other part that I'm addressing is that 80% of the teachers are not satisfied with the district's response to the Return to Learn plan. Now, I'm well aware we cannot change it. We're already back in school, and that's fine. But please know that these little things could help us with our mental health, stay on track, and get through this year together. Thank you for listening and understanding.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Carrie Pope. I teach at Kern Middle School. I teach art, and I am here to address the hours outside of contract time that we are spending. This is my 25th year of teaching in the district, and I absolutely love my job. I know that I'm doing exactly what I am meant to do. My husband is also an educator, and we live by the philosophy that we have responsibilities, not hours. So I want you to understand that. I currently teach 371 students this year. I have 8th grade sections that are semester and 7th and 6th grade classes that are AB all year long. I am spending an average of 3.5 minutes per week per student outside of school. That's 1,298.5 minutes, 21.6 hours. Sometimes more, rarely less. I want to share where this time is being spent. First of all, it's planning. This is not a situation where I don't know the curriculum. I wrote much of it. I teach lessons that have been published in professional journals. I have presented lessons at national conferences. This is significantly different. This is taking a lesson I know and adapting it for virtual, hybrid, in-person, and remote students. This is adjusting materials to fit availability that students have and making phone calls and arranging pickup or me delivering materials to assure success. Some of these lessons do not translate well, and I'm collaborating with other art teachers. I have joined Google Classrooms with my coworkers so that I can have a resource when I need to start fresh and then consider all of those factors over again. Another area is grading. This is significant because art and feedback go hand in hand. Feedback has been my professional goal for the last few years, and I have developed lots of strategies and seen significant growth from students. I know it needs to be timely and specific to be effective. So a huge part of my evenings, about 3 hours a night, is spent on grading and feedback. I am strategic with my planning so that I do not have all grade levels requiring huge amounts of feedback at the same time. But with 371 students on my roster, just 1 minute for each student would be 6 hours a week. The final most significant place my time is going is parent contact. I know the value of this, and I'm not complaining, but I want the board to understand that not only are the teachers needing extra support in this situation, but so are parents, and they seek it from us. Whenever a student is struggling, especially a virtual student, I reach out to the parents. When a student is turning in blank assignments, I reach out to parents. And when a student is creating amazing work, I am reaching out. And when I reach out, the goal is to start a dialogue. Those take time. time teachers need to be able to give and parents need. In the situation we are in, we need more and seem to have less. But I am not here to complain. I just want the board to have an idea of what teachers are going through this year, not just me. I know there are others. There are people who have more students than I have and who are giving far more hours. I want to leave you with a solution. This was one of the district actually offered last spring. Elective classes should be semester long. In fact, last spring, our department was told that was going to be the case this year. We met via Google Meet, rewrote a calendar, made adjustments to the curriculum. And if that would have been the case, I would have 197 students this semester with 8 classes and one 39-minute plan. What? Oh, sorry. At 3.5 minutes a week, it would only come to 12 hours of outside time needed. With less students, remote virtual hybrid planning would also be cut, as well as parent contact. I hope that I did not come across as attacking or blaming. Nobody could have known what this situation would mean for teachers. It has taken 9 weeks of teaching for me to get it, and I still don't know that I fully understand. But as planning begins for next school year, I hope that our district will consider these numbers and create a healthier, more manageable schedule for teachers. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Deb Hernandez. I teach science at Kern Middle School, and I'm here to address workload, cleaning supplies, and morale. Teachers are a breed of their own. Whether a task is possible or not, they figure out a way. Teachers in my building have spent weeks preparing one another for the many things the district did not train or equipped us with, and I am grateful for that. As a teacher, my workload has increased more than ever, sending out 20 to 30 emails a week addressing attendance or lack thereof, work completion, or just to offer extra assistance for students and parents who need it. Not to mention the 10 to 15 weekly good news calls. After making these contacts, I need to take another hour to hour and a half to document these discussions in Power School. This is usually done before my Monday PD, when I could be planning individually or collaborating with my team. Most of my time planning and providing students feedback on their work is done at home. As a 30-year teacher, but new to science middle school, I try to rely on my colleagues for guidance and support. Having tech be the main part of my world the last 3 years, I spend hours looking or creating digital resources to tie to the units we teach. When asking for help with resources or asking the district to entertain the idea of purchasing resource or troubleshoot current resources, it seems to take several weeks before an answer is given. This is frustrating for teachers, students, and families. After all, isn't it our job to provide the best education we can for our students and their families? As a science teacher, we need more cleaning supplies due to the various science labs and activities that our students partake in. This year, we were given cleaning spray called Sanitize. This spray is harmful to the skin and is not to be used by students. With half the students, I was able to seat my students in a diagonal pattern and seat the next class diagonally the opposite direction so that I could use my lunch or plan time to disinfect the tables for the next group. Since we currently have most of our students back, it's impossible to do, and since the district has not provided Clorox wipes or wipes that students could use to clean their workspaces, teachers are either using their own money to purchase this, or they're not purchasing it all and the areas go unsanitized. Because if we use the spray, it's not drying enough and kids can't touch it. We also need it for science equipment and math manipulatives that students and teachers use throughout the district. I was always taught safety first. But as a district, do you live by these beliefs? If so, please equip teachers and students with the supplies that they can use together to make our classrooms cleaner, safer for the lives of all of us. Lastly, I'd like to focus closing on morale in the district. In my 30 years with the district, I've never seen the morale of educators as low as they are now. Drinks, treats, signage, lunch are not what teachers want. They want you to walk the walk and not just visit our classrooms. Teachers want you to come, spend an hour subbing in our buildings at various levels, teaching the required content so that you can truly understand what is being asked of all of us and how ill-equipped we are to do this job. Don't worry if you don't have the proper certification. We're asked multiple times to go into rooms and sub where we don't have the right certification either. But we're still there because we know that students at home and at school deserve to get the best education. Thank you.
Dr. Murillo, Donette Bastian did request earlier in the week to speak, so I apologize I left her off the list for tonight. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak for myself and for the members of the CBA. My name is Donette Kremke Bastian, and I'm on the executive board of the Council Bluffs Community Schools Education Association. I have had many different roles in many different schools in my 30 years in the Council Bluffs Community Schools, including teacher, counselor, and administrator. I am currently the school counselor at Longfellow Elementary. Tonight I've come to you to share my concerns about the mental health of our educators in our district this year. As a trauma-informed district, I am very concerned about our educators. As a district that prides itself in being trauma-informed, I am surprised to see the lack of awareness and recognition of the widespread life and health impairing impacts of toxic stress on staff. Our teachers and staff are experiencing mental health issues like never before. They talk to their principals about their concerns, but nothing seems to be changing. I want to start with my own personal story. As a career educator of 37 years, this is the hardest year I have ever experienced, with the stress of multiple schedules, changes in status of students, technology that fails, and COVID virus itself is causing trauma in our schools. By the third week of school, I visited my doctor because I was having severe chest pains. She could not find a problem with my heart. She asked me about my life, and through our conversation, she decided that the pains were due to increased stress and anxiety. I got meds and the pain went away. I find myself spending most of my waking minutes working on school-related tasks, even on the weekends. When I was not working on school things, I was thinking about them and feeling guilty for not doing more. I still find myself 2.5 months into the school year feeling this way because of the way our operations keep changing. I was expecting that, but was not prepared with really how difficult it would be. In reality, sadly, my experiences seem to be what the majority of teachers and staff are going through. I have had numerous teachers come to me during this year with mental health concerns and just concerns in general. Let me share some of the things I have heard. The worry when you have to be gone, be it for yourself or one of your family members, is a stressor in the normal school year. But this year it has increased because in the elementary, we have been very short on subs. If you are gone, there is a good chance that one of your colleagues is going to have to cover your classroom. That stress weighs heavy on you as a person and as an educator. None of us wants to add to another person's workload or stress. One teacher shared with me that she is not sleeping, and when she closes her eyes, she sees her classroom and her students and thinks about all the things she needs to be doing, and she just can't sleep. She was in tears during this conversation. This is a sign of trauma. One came to me and was worried about, quote unquote, she was losing it. because she has dry heaves in the morning before she comes to school. This again is trauma coming out in a different way. Another sees her marriage crumbling because she is always working on school-related things. Yet another form of trauma and trauma response. A teacher shared with me that she has been to her doctor and that he has prescribed medication for her anxiety. Like my situation, this is psychological and physiological response to trauma. These are just a few examples of what I'm hearing. I am concerned for our staff's mental health. My biggest fear is that these issues lead to many significant health issues for staff. In times of stress with no relief in sight, the levels of addiction rise, and when a person feels like there is no way out or no way to make things better, the incidence of suicide increases. Also, the body itself can have issues from new chronic diseases such as high blood pressure or even things like heart attacks and stroke. I don't want to see this happen to any of my colleagues or friends. We are not all right physically and mentally in our district, no matter what you're hearing. Please understand that the majority of educators are willing to do what it takes for students in the schools district at the expense of their own physical and mental health. We need the board's help to be successful, emotionally stable, and physically healthy in this time of trauma. I would like to offer these 3 ideas to the board for your consideration. The union is collecting data from its members. Please review the data and find a format of questions and answers to address the staff. Please come out to the buildings and see how things are with your own eyes, unannounced. Take a self-guided tour of what really is going on. 3, monitor the data available and find ways to directly talk to staff. How many sub-jobs are going unfilled that are being filled by staff members in the building? Are the meeting options or opportunities for staff to speak or communicate directly or privately with the board? Please, thank you for your time.
Hi, I'm Sherry Anderson. I teach at Kern Middle School. I'm the president of CBEA, and thank you for listening to everybody talking about what's happening in our buildings. I was going to talk to slide 9. The one that says only 14% of teachers are confident in the validity of data provided by district. So this has been an ongoing and historically upsetting process that's happened with our district. People ask for a survey and teachers and parents comply, and then we never see the results of the survey, but they're summarized for us explaining what decisions are made based on the survey. Okay. Well, the last survey that was sent out to parents and teachers was before the return to learn, before the October 1st day that people were going to come back to school. So Dr. Murillo sent out a voice message to staff and said the dates hadn't been decided. She's going to send out parent surveys and teacher surveys to help decide how we're going to return to learn. That day, during school, a principal had shared her calendar with her entire staff that had the dates to return. So there's a conflict there because one person is saying, we haven't decided what we're doing, and another person is saying, here's the dates that I was given that I'm sharing with my staff. So that's a conflict. So then that day the surveys came out. Well, I'm a teacher, so I took the survey 3 times because I could. I just kept taking it to see. So that's invalid. Then I'm a parent. I got the phone call, 1 phone call. My husband's there, he's a parent, and we have 2 kids. So that's invalid because I don't know who got this, I don't know. And then I didn't see any results from that. And then we decided that everybody would return to learn in full if they wanted to. When the contradiction for that was they hadn't decided, they weren't going to consider secondary at all. It was just elementary. So that does hurt the trust between teachers specifically and the administration at ESC. So my solution, what I would like, is for transparency on every survey. I would like to know what the questions were, how many people were reached, how many people answered, and how many answers were invalid. I would like to know that for every question. When we sent, never mind, okay. Then I would like, when we made this presentation, we sent the results to the district so they could see exactly how many of our teachers answered it and who answered which way, not who, but how many people answered which way, okay? So the last slide of this presentation, well, okay, there's this next one. It says, this next one says, do you feel safe voicing your opinion to the district? Nobody wanted to talk to that because nobody feels safe voicing their opinion to the district. I hope that when I'm speaking to you, you realize people are coming to me as the president. I am speaking to you from many people, and I agree with a lot of it. The very last thing, this is what I want to leave you with after all of us spoke, the expected outcomes. This is what we want. This is the solution that we think will help with many problems in our district. We want the district at ESC to understand that teachers are problem solvers and we're solution based. Part of the solution is to identify the problem. So you hear us come up here and talk about all these problems and we're whiny complainers because that's where we're stuck. We are not involved in solutions. All we get are the problems. We want to solve the problems. We are stuck with the problems in our classrooms, and most of them we didn't create. Now, nobody created COVID. I'm not. But if we were involved in the discussions and the decisions, it would be very helpful for everybody. And if it's good for everybody, it's good for everybody. So, as you hear all these issues and we're complaining and we're whining and whatever, the reason is because we're stuck in that spot. We want to move forward towards decisions, and we're not allowed. I'm out of time, but please consider encouraging the district to bring in teachers for the solutions to these problems that we're facing. Thank you very much for listening.
No one moving toward the, I'd like to thank those individuals who expressed their concerns. If my assessment is correct, your concerns best addressed to that labor management task force that Dr. Murillo together with the CBA. I would ask Dr. Murillo to follow up with the CBA on these concerns. Labor management task force was developed so that we can have a board of teachers at the administration. So I will ask Dr. Murillo to follow up and keep us abreast of
Mr. Kozar, just for clarification, I didn't catch who made the decision not to share the presentation tonight?
It was the board officers and Dr. Murillo. Okay, as we move forward, we have our superintendent's report. We'll recognize.
Thank you. I'd like to ask Ms. Ostrowski to join me at the podium. Tonight, we are finally back to celebrating students and staff. I think you're going to start with our students first, Ms. Ostrowski, or second?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and then I'll just wait here until we get to our staff.
Okay. Right. Cast a screen because we don't have the students live and in person, but we have pictures of them. Almost there? Okay. Oh, I did the wrong one. Give me one more second, just, we can all take a deep breath. Are you guys dreaming? Uh-oh, now I switched it on you, and just as you were getting... Okay. All right, thank you for your patience. All right, so we are, as Dr. Merlo said, very happy when we get a chance to spotlight students and staff because they are representative of all the amazing things that are happening out in our schools, for sure. And we are also thankful for the Foundation's partnership to purchase the trophies and the stars that can help our honorees remember this moment and hopefully display it proudly. Dr. Murillo had an opportunity this week to visit with some of our students who recently, spring, had achieved some accomplishments. At Thomas Jefferson, and some of them have already graduated, and we did get a chance to celebrate them before they graduated. But current students, Macy Wilson was a speech all-stater from last year. In fact, she received very high honors at the state level for her poetry. And then Mia Richardson is an AP scholar at Thomas Jefferson High School. At Abraham Lincoln, we had a chance to see their smiling faces behind their masks today. Molly Higgins and Cadence Berhaney were both very, very well accomplished at the individual and state speech competition this last spring. And you know, they did it virtually, so it was different for them, but they accomplished a lot nonetheless. And then at Abraham Lincoln, some of the students weren't able to join us for the photo, but the AP scholars we visited with this morning are here in this picture. And one of them I will note is Daniel Fitch next to Dr. Murillo. He has not only received the highest honor of AP Scholar with distinction for the number of courses he's taken, the tests he's taken, and the scores he's received on those tests, but he has achieved the National AP Scholar designation. It's an amazing accomplishment. And to be honest with you, I don't remember many of our students in my last 20 years getting that, so we're very proud of Daniel. But again, he represents all the kids that do so well in our AP classes thanks to the hard work of our teachers and their parents supporting them. Okay.
Well, congratulations to all of those students, and I would like to send my thanks to their parents and those individuals and adults in their lives that have made them who they are today.
Right. And I will, if I could please name a few more that weren't with us. Bailey Christensen, Allison Smith, Caitlin Weber, Desiree Arbolente, and also, that's it, I guess. We got the rest of them today, so. Right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll just keep them up there floating here for a minute while we move to the next exciting news. And that is to celebrate our September Employees of the Month, even though we're in October. We've taken the time to, and Dr. Murillo surprised him with a phone call and invited him here tonight. So we are very pleased tonight to have Kern Middle School math teacher Denise Almond, our licensed staff member of the month. And Denise is joined here tonight by Principal Amanda Jens. And I'm going to read a little bit about you, Denise. And guess what? This one's special. It's extra special because you were nominated by a former student. Did you know that? You did know that. Okay, good. Good. All right. Student Grace Fight said, Ms. Almond did a great job of challenging me in math and running the accelerated program. This was last year. She also did a great job of assessing classmates' academic needs and challenged them where they were. After the school was closed in March, Ms. Almond made the extra effort to continue with the class and check in to make sure that the district's program was meeting our needs.
She gave us a platform to communicate with the rest of our class during this uncertain time. She was a very valuable resource during the COVID-19 break when we were isolated from our peers. Finally, Ms. Allman was an advocate for advancing students and further challenging them when necessary. She said, "I feel very fortunate to have had Ms. Allman for a teacher." Isn't that awesome? Congratulations. You want to say anything? You don't have to, but you can. Go ahead. You want to say anything or just get your picture? Okay. You and Dr. Murillo and Mr. Kazire picture. Okay. Thank you. Right. Okay, our next honoree is our support staff member of the month, and it's Lisa Simonetti. She's a Carter Lake paraeducator. Lisa, would you join Dr. Murillo? Lisa, please have your family come in and your fan club that's out in the hallway come in too. Have them come on up to the front. I just want to I want to make sure they can hear. Okay, I'm ready. Lisa, your nominator said, "Lisa is always smiling and positive. She's a team player, and it is obvious that she loves working with kids, even during challenging times. She encourages the kids to be better and do their best always. Lisa makes the kids laugh, feel safe, and they know that they have someone who cares about them. She is a team player and has great relationships with both staff and students, and makes the days at the lake enjoyable with her smile that is contagious." Congratulations, Lisa.
My whole family is here. Oh, this is my grandson Clayton. But I want to thank Doreen Knuth, who came back after she retired to put this all together, really. She is amazing. And everyone at the Carter Lake staff is phenomenal. I love my job. Thank you. Can you take my picture? All right, buddy. Can you stand by? Sure. Thank you. Okay, let's take it with Mr. Kuzak. Thank you.
I'm so very thankful that we have this opportunity during our board meetings to recognize those students and those staff members who achieve more. Now that we have come to our resolution portion of our meeting, the first resolution we have is an early notification incentive. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve the early notification incentive.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, before us is a resolution to approve the early notification incentive. Mr. Wilson, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Albright.
Yes.
Mr. Lake. Yes. Yes. Mr. Pearl.
Yes.
Ms. Shuda.
Yes.
Mr. Arthur.
Yes.
Mr. Zion.
Yes. And the resolution has been approved. Before us now, we have an application for waiver. Is there a motion?
I can move that the Board of Directors approve the 2019, 2020, and 2020-21 application to the Iowa Department of Education for a waiver of third and fourth year world language offer and teach requirements.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, so somebody explain this to me more.
I'll have Dr. Voigtman come up. It's about our Spanish courses, 3 and 4, and I'll have him give you a high-level overview.
Yeah, so typically, Chapter 12 of Iowa Code requires that
all districts offer and teach certain classes in their high schools. One of those requirements is that all school districts in Iowa offer 4 sequential units of a single foreign language. We offer 4 sequential units, but we don't always teach all 4 sequential units. And that is because in our circumstances, Spanish 3 and Spanish 4 can be taken concurrently with elementary Spanish CE and intermediate Spanish CE. So it's an advanced option. And the overwhelming majority of our students go from Spanish 2 into the college credit class. The Iowa legislature and Chapter 12 does not allow concurrent enrollment courses to meet offer and teach requirements. So that's why we have to ask for a waiver from the Department of Ed for these 2 units. In the past, we have had some students once in a while who will take Spanish 3 and Spanish 4 not for concurrent enrollment. We did not have that last year or this year.
Thank you.
There's no further discussion. Before us now is a resolution to approve the waiver application for the 2019-20, 2020-21 school year. Mr. Wilson, would you please call the roll? Yes, thank you.
Yes.
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 Yes, Mr. McLean? Yes. Mr. Duffy?
Yes, and the resolution has been approved. Before us now is the contract for the Wilson Middle School roof project. Is there a motion?
Move to approve the bid from Imperial Roofing for facilities, 272, no, is that right? 272,252? Is that it?
Mhm.
Okay.
No.
No.
Reduces the bid? Gotcha, okay, so go up to the top and read the, okay. Move to approve Imperial Roofing of Omaha, $323,252.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ogres. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
So it sounds like that they might start work tomorrow. When would we, or no?
Whichever we're gonna do.
Mr. Myers, will you join us and kind of talk through the timeline for me?
Well, I thought Jared mentioned earlier that they would get started tomorrow if the contract, so I guess my question was, if approved by the facilities department, like when would we need to know if that material is approved?
Well, we have done the evaluation
Okay.
since Dean put that note in there. And what we found is the newer system is actually it's where it's an intriguing system, but Carlisle has partnered with Velcro to come up with a way of attaching a roof without using adhesives. And it's something that the district, I've talked to Travis Martin, I've talked to HGM. We're going to do a more thorough investigation of that, but it's so new, and the fact that this contractor has never installed this type of system before, we don't recommend that we do it for this roof.
Okay.
So we would ask for the $323,000.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay.
That makes sense now, where that other number came from.
Can I ask how come the roof wasn't included in the original bid if we knew the roof hadn't been replaced for over 20, I believe they said earlier, 20 years?
I guess,
30
it's
years.
deteriorated, it's about 3 years from since the original design was done. And as we got into the building, tore all the ceilings out, we could start seeing some of the places where it just clearly showed that it needed to be replaced. So the district was hoping that we could get another 5 years out of that roof when that original decision was made. And now with the renovation going on, we think it's the best time to do it.
And you're discovering leaks now that we weren't discovering before?
There's been ongoing leaks that have been repaired, but they've become worse. We're also getting some leaks through some of the parapet walls that are on the roof that are not even on this ballasted, but that's what the $20,000 is for, is to do some investigation and try to take care of those.
Mm-hmm.
Wilson, as you know, has a very large roof. It's about almost 4 acres. you can expect to see it, probably the rest of it will need to be replaced probably within 2 to 5 years. But that's a much larger amount. That's another several $100,000. But we feel we can patch that area now and do it later.
There are no further questions or further discussion. We'll move forward with the roll call. Before us now is the approval of the contract for the Wilson Middle School project, roofing project. Mr. Wilson, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Aldred?
Yes.
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 Mr. LaFleur?
Yes.
Mr. McGuane? Yes. Mr. Utah? Yes. Mr. Dyer?
Yes. And the resolution has been approved. We had an opportunity to look in our board packet this week, the policy review list for the 2021 calendar. Is there a resolution?
I'll move to approve the 2021 policy review list as presented.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to the roll call. Mr. Wilson, would you please call the roll regarding the 2021 policy review list?
Mr. LaFleur?
Yes.
Ms. Hudak?
Yes.
Mr. Archer?
Yes.
Dr. Aldred?
Yes.
Mr. Utah? Yes. Mr. McGuane? Yes. Mr. Dyer?
Yes, and the resolution has been approved. Before us now, we have a contract regarding a consultation agreement. Do we have a motion?
I can move the board approve the contract with 4 Point Education Partners to provide consulting services with Executive Cabinet for $6,000.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Can we have some more information? What exactly are they consulting for the different fees?
So for the, we have been working with Mr. Gearing for about the last 3 years, is that correct? And Mr. Gearing with the cabinet really has done a lot of work around our district goals, our district focus, really working around aligning to our school improvement plans and really seeing a true thread line between the alignment in the district and really working with us on our theory, our action plan, theory of action. And he works closely and supports cabinet members as needed. He does our retreats. And so that is the work that he does with the executive cabinet. With the school leadership on the second one is the work that he does with Julia Mark and in the work that he does in supporting them as they coach our principals at the building levels.
We did this last school year too,
Yes.
correct?
Yes. Mr. Gearing is an executive coach that works with a lot of superintendents across the nation and a lot of school leadership across the nation. He has worked in large school districts and small. He is currently, though, his focus is all on coaching and coaching us around a true tight focus for developing our school leadership and developing a strong school district leadership team. And so he has really challenged, stretched, and really helped us grow.
And they have a collaborative relationship with the cabinet as well, right?
Yes.
The previous work that they've done together.
And how many years have we been?
This is going on our 5th year? Yes.
5th?
No, fourth.
If there are no further questions or discussion, before us now is a resolution to approve the consulting agreement with 4 Points Education Partners for leadership development for the executive cabinet. Mr. Wilson, would you please call the roll?
Yes.
Yes. Dr. Aldred?
Yes.
Mr. McGuane? Yes. Mr. LaFleur?
Yes.
Ms. Hudak?
Yes.
Mr. Dyer?
Yes, and the resolution has been approved. Following up on this consulting agreement, there is another one with 4 Points Education Partners. Do we have a motion?
I can move the board approve the contract with 4 Point Education Partners to provide consulting services with school leadership for $16,500.
Second.
Thank you for the motion and the second. Any discussion?
Do we receive feedback then from the board, or does the board receive feedback on these different sessions, or just?
Yeah, Julie or Mark, would you like to step up and talk a little bit about the work that you guys have been doing with Mr. Gearing? And I do believe that we've put some updates in Friday
Yeah.
notes and some of the work that we've had over the year. So go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, Jill, do you have any specific question there on type of feedback?
No, I'm just, we get so many different formal presentations on different things, and while, you know, $16,000 doesn't seem like a lot of money, I'm just trying to see, you know, are we gonna receive a formal presentation about what our investment has done over the last 4 years?
Yeah, we definitely can do that. And we've done, through our presentation, Steve has supported Julie and myself in our work with principals in the school. And he provides a really global United States view in working with districts all over the country. He helps to support us, especially with our reopening plans in that work. We work with him monthly, whether it's a phone call or a Zoom call. In the past, he's come up and he's like done school walks with us, and to help us develop our coaching skills with principals. So yeah, we'd be more than happy to provide some feedback to the board on this work.
Can you talk a little bit about his expertise with COVID and how he's been working with the different districts and guiding you and how to return to loan plan and those types of things?
Yeah, and I think no one is an expert.
Right.
But what he does is he's just there and just being able to connect us. Like last week, I had put in Friday notes, I had a chance to speak on a panel that his consulting group put together, and we had districts all over the country, and I was able to share what we had done, but also learn some things that other people are doing. And it's surprising, like in Maryland, for example, they're not going to go back to school until February 4th. You know, and I shared that we are back and it's working. And some people are like, they just don't know. And so it's really about connecting people and having conversations. And Steve is very good at really networking with the different school districts throughout the country.
But also, Mark, before we got to COVID, one of the things that I so appreciated, because when I got here, Dr. Bruckner had done a fabulous job with allowing her cabinet and her team to really grow in principles in the knowledge of best practices. And Steve has been able to take that knowledge base and now turn it into action. And he does that not by telling them what to do, but observing them. So he would go to buildings, observe Mark coaching a principal, walking through classrooms, and then watch Mark do the feedback session and set goals for the next visit. And then once Mark finished with the principal or Julie, then Steve would then debrief and talk through how that went and how they could get better. And I think that them modeling that helps now our principals then begin to model that with teachers. And so we kind of went from Mark to principals, principals to teachers, teachers to students, and students to students for the feedback. And so being able to layer that and see that growth over the last 3 years, it's a different type of coaching. Steve's not here to tell us what to do. Steve's here to really craft those real intense questions that make us think and become smarter about the work as he brings in research to really ground us and base things in. And it's just been a really great growth that I've seen, because if you remember, Miss Smith moved to high school having no high school experience in coaching and leading those principals. And really that transition worked so well because Steve comes from a high school background, and being able to come in and provide that executive coaching. Almost all of my superintendent colleagues have executive coaches. They have someone that coaches and works through with them in their first 5 years, that provides someone that they can talk to, have confidence with, learn, grow, be pushed and challenged. And when I got here, the cabinet had never really had any kind of executive coaching. So Steve has brought that. Every year I worry we won't have him because he's so requested across the nation that we have to really get in line every year. And we have decreased his contract every year. And so it's been a steady, his hope is he works himself out of a job and releases us. And that's a goal, is to, get to that position.
I appreciate the feedback, and I think the, people in the audience are at home. Yeah. It's good to have some of that background information, knowing, when bids like this come up or requests like this come up, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If there's no further discussion, before us now is a resolution to approve a consulting agreement with 4 Points Education Partners for leadership development for school leadership. Mr. Wilson, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Arthur?
Yes.
Dr. Aldred?
Yes.
Mr. Neutral? Yes. Mr. McGlade?
Yes.
Mr. Lefebvre?
Yes.
Ms. Hudak?
Yes.
Mr. Kazai?
Yes, and the resolution has been approved. Before us now is our consent agenda, including business items that include special education contracts for students placed outside of the Council Bluffs Community School District, those being Iowa School for the Deaf, Cedar Rapids, Tangier Place, Jefferson High School, Woodward Granger, West Side, Sioux City, Heartland, One Oak, Goodwill Industries, and the Metro Intervention Center at Boys Town. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we move forward with the roll call. Mr. Wilson, would you take the roll call regarding our consent agenda?
Dr. Aldred?
Yes.
Mr. Neutral?
Yes.
Mr. Lefebvre?
Yes.
Mr. Arthur?
Yes.
Ms. Hudak?
Yes.
And Mr. Kazai?
Yes. And the resolution has been approved. With that, our business has been concluded, and before we adjourn, we did have an opportunity during our work session earlier this evening to have our school principals meet with us through Google Meet to talk about their school improvement plans and how they're moving forward to meet their goals that they have developed, both student goals and goals of the school. So we had a lively conversation. It was a little bit different format than in the past, but it was much appreciated to hear from our principals, our lead teachers in the schools about what they're doing to move student achievement forward. With that, we are adjourned.